Pearl Davis said, I am tired of seeing mid women get the outcomes of beautiful women. Bring back the 8s and up. I know this Montana 3 did not just say Angel Reese is mid.
So I don't believe black men hate black women. What I believe is that some people have got left behind. George Bush said, no child left behind, but some of them got left behind.
Yo, I just saw that clip of Angel Reese on that runway. Yo, that thing was moving. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't really watch too much of her when she be playing, but I saw that clip just now. Yeah.
And I think that they're blaming other people for being left behind. But it's not black women's fault if you were left behind. So you need to get off these podcasts and figure out what you need to do with your life to make your life a success.
And she on Twitter talking her big ish. Do you hear me? She said that walk so nasty, I thought a hoe said something. Okay? I don't work jobs, I am a job. You feel me?
Because black women are going to continue to do what they're doing. And because black women are looking pretty good right now. Black women are looking pretty good right now in spite of all of this vitriol that has come black women's way. And a lot of it is because there are black men who are always going to hold up the rear for black women. And I stand by that. I stand by that.
She did more than get her wings, okay? She was the show. She understood the assignment and then did extra credit. Then did extra credit. Give her her 10s now.
Well, if you didn't know, the beautiful WNBA basketball player, Angel Reese, recently modeled in the Victoria's Secret fashion show. And she is the only female athlete that has ever walked that particular runway. She received a lot of backlash from white women, but surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, she received a lot of backlash from black men.
Often in this space, you'll hear us refer to the term Germaine, as in blame Germaine. This is a perfect example of Germaine catching strays, because Germaine simply represents the fact that often black men just get blamed by default, no matter what the situation is, even if we're not involved. If you look on social media and look for black men responding to Angel Reese walking the exhibition for Victoria's Secrets, you're going to get an overwhelmingly positive response. Most of the black men watching are saying, yeah, she looks good. I mean, Now, does she want to be responded to like she's wearing a long wedding gown or an evening gown? You're not going to get that. It's Victoria's Secrets. You're supposed to be looking the way you look, but it's not a large number of black men that are... If you look at possibly the most critical black men that might respond to this, even he was somewhat congratulatory in his own way.
Look at Angel. There's no hate here from me. That is the best version of Angel Reese I think we've ever seen. Now, that's not saying a whole lot, because normally Angel Reese is running her mouth or missing layups. She has found her calling. She is an OnlyFans model, and this is a step towards being an OnlyFans model. This Angel Reese is basketball Barbie, and soon she'll be OnlyFans Barbie once she gets done using basketball to promote her real passion. She wants to be a sex symbol. Angel Reese is a attractive 6'3" woman. Put enough makeup on her and she gets real attractive. And certainly her body is strong. And I know, Jason, you're a Christian, you shouldn't be talking about this. This is what Angel Reese wants me to talk about. And so I'm going to talk about it.
If you have a handle on the 8-0 situation, the dynamics at play, you would understand that probably the most likely black man to be critical of Angel Reese was the man you just heard, Jason Witlock. That was his response. Now, how does that translate into all black men or most black men? I don't understand. But it is all black men. It's Jermaine's fault.
Oh, I just want to know, what the hell do we have as men? What do we have against Angel Reese? It just came out. I saw that she was modeling for Victoria's Secret, and I clicked on the comment section of the article that was on Facebook. Just the nasty men were saying about this young lady. I expected that from white men. I really did. But I didn't expect that from black men. So I want to really target this video towards black men. What the hell do y'all have against Angel Reese?
Now, this is very interesting because remember, he said men, and then he skips by the other men And he says, I'm going to talk to black men, not the black men that spoke against Angel Reese, black men, period. Strays for Germaine.
Angel Reese finally did something that we all approve of. She walked down the Victoria's Secret fashion show runway.
She did?
Yeah, look good. She's actually better at walking in lingerie than she is at making layups in a WNBA game. She may have found her calling. I don't know why she was so, she had like resting kind of angry face going on. She never smiled once during her Angel premiere.
I believe that. I believe she was told to do that because there was a mix of women who did that.
Is that the deal?
Yes, that's kind of the deal.
Yeah,
that's the deal.
It's like.
Now she looked good.
Even in that previous clip, if you listen, the black man opposite the gentleman that was centered on the camera was speaking up for Angel Reese. And so of the 99% of black men that watched her exhibition, there was nothing but praise and acceptance. But maybe there was a small percentage of black men that said, maybe she's showing a little too much meat, or maybe I don't like this representation of her. And then you call in the dogs on not all men, but black men.
What the hell do y'all have against this woman? What the hell has she done y'all? Is it because she got more money than y'all? She got more fame? Selling a cereal box? Maybe y'all as men wanted to be the star player on your college basketball team, or wanted to win a national championship or go to the pros. Y'all didn't make it. For some strange reason, y'all picked her as y'all enemy. So I don't think that maybe y'all should be like, okay, let me embrace this young black lady, right? Because this maybe can be my daughter one day. What's the problem? Maybe the problem is it wasn't the Clark girl. Well, I can't, Catalina Clark. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe y'all wanted it to be her, right? There's a lane for both Angel Reese and the Clark girl in the WNBA, in society. There's a lot of money. There's a lane for all of us in society, right? I don't understand what the problem is. What is the problem? Help me understand, what has Angel Reese done us black men that have us going online having so much hate for this young lady? Please help me understand.
And that's what happens when you start talking about Germaine. He is not specific about the men that he found criticizing her. He is simply saying, oh, there are 2 or 3 black men that did not in unison say, oh, you slayed, girl. You walk around in your T-back and your badonkadonk doing his thing, and you're supposed to praise her again in unison. Anything other than that, and we have to wag our finger at all black men, you're supposed to get in line because that's your job. It's just strays for Germaine, man. I think there's a reason why she chose this particular gentleman to speak on her particular subject, because he's referring to a podcast in South Florida with 2 black guys on it who allowed an openly R guy to come on their podcast, and she obviously wants to associate that with all black men, even though many guys in our particular space don't really rock with those guys like that. But that said, I want you to hear how easily this argument of a couple of guys having an issue with whatever they had an issue with turns into all black men need to do better.
Now, this is the complaint that I've been hearing from black women since 2017 when I joined social media, that black men are spending too much time focused on black women when we have so many other issues in our community that need to be addressed. At first, it was about their preference. They just didn't prefer black women. They didn't want to date black women. They wanted to date white women and Latino women and Asian women because those women were feminine and they were submissive. Well, that got debunked pretty quickly. White women are not submissive. And if they are feminine, it is because white men have created the environment for them to be feminine. And I think that has been made very clear.
You know, that's interesting. I seem to remember a certain guy in our space talking about that quite recently.
Chrissy herself has basically alluded to the fact, or said explicitly, that dark-skinned black women, they're not complaining about not having or getting attention from black men. She says out of her words that dark skinned black women get plenty of attention from black men.
And as far as what she said about me and my following not being able to claim Shelly because she gets attention from black men, who over here has never gotten attention from black men? And why are we even acting like that's a huge flex anyway? But to this day, I don't know one dark skinned woman on YouTube who talks about colorism that has never gotten attention from a black man.
She also said that dark skinned black women want to be at the top of the beauty hierarchy so that they basically can have more options with non-black
and
men.
there you go.
If we start getting more exceptional promotion that can compete with the status quo, then we become more of a threat to the status quo. And that is exactly what white people have been doing in their media. The consistent, glamorous, luxurious, aspirational promotion of white women has even black people thinking that every woman they promote is drop dead gorgeous when they're not. What's happening is you're looking at their glamorous, aspirational promotion that's put out very consistently, and you're mistaking that for attractiveness.
And that's what I really think is at the core of this whole dark-skinned, pro-black woman movement. I think at the core of it is a desire for dark-skinned black women to be seen with the top tier, usually white or non-black men, to be put in those positions, to have access to those kind of men and the resources and the status that they have, and the disdain or the frustration that comes when that does not happen.
The only women being told that we aren't allowed to have or identify with our exceptional promotion. And that is because they see our exceptional promotion as a threat to theirs and their position on the beauty hierarchy. That's the issue here. If we start getting more exceptional promotion that can compete with the status quo, then we become more of a threat. They only say that kind of shit to unambiguous dark-skinned women.
And so the movement comes about, okay, how do we try to create a society, or how do we try to influence people to see dark-skinned black women as more desirable? So hopefully more white men or more desirable white men will give us attention, or at least more races of other men will give us attention the way we believe non-black women or the way we believe lighter-skinned women have. Like, there's not going to be a reality in a white society where black women become, dark-skinned black women specifically, become the standard of beauty the way that they want to be. Because if that was to happen, if black women were to become the standard of beauty that white people looked up to, then whiteness itself would cease to exist. If black women were systematically put into positions of power and influence and given the top tier men and given these positions and these spaces, procreating, being with these top tier, high value men, whiteness would not exist anymore. The white men that many of these ladies aspire for would have to now put black women in the position that their white women hold. That's never going to happen, because if that happens, if white men put black women in the position that white women have held historically, whiteness dismantles. There is no more whiteness. So it's like this whole idea of corrective promotion of, okay, let's try to give black women, see them in more luxury stories. Let's see them in interracial relationships. Let's see them in nice cars and luxury. I'm like, well, what is the end goal of that? Because nobody with two brain cells is going to undermine their own community by putting another race of women as the standard. White people are still the majority, so they still hold most of the wealth, most of the power, most of the control. Why would they ever all of a sudden go and try to elevate other cultures and other races of women to the level that their women are at? Like, who would do that? They wouldn't.
What Chrissy doesn't appreciate, and I said this earlier, let me reiterate this, is what it cost to make black women the beauty standard, to remove white women, the Margot Robbies of the world, right? She's currently the it girl, right? Okay, cool. She's currently the it woman. To remove Margot Robbie and replace her with, name the black woman right now. Black men, I said this earlier, would have to develop a technology or come upon a technology, develop it far beyond anyone else, run ahead of everyone else, and using that technology to subjugate pretty much everyone else on planet Earth, colonize those folks, and then force the black beauty standard on everyone else.
And then when they discovered that even though they might prefer those other races of women, they were not those other women's preference. White men were those other women's preference. So then what they were going to do is get them some passports, and they were going to go and find them some submissive feminine women from other parts of the world. So what those men discovered in all of that is that there are black men who are going to stay right here in the United States of America with black women and make the best of their lives just like the black women are doing. So in all of their talking and all of their running, they always circle back around to black women, because at the end of the day, nobody else gives a damn about them in the first place. And the joke is on them because The majority of Black American men are going to stay right here in the United States and deal with Black American women because they really don't hate Black women. And hating Black women is not the answer to whatever your problems are.
I can't help but notice a kind of over-the-top way of looking at things in a polar black or white manner of speaking. If you're a guy that did not get attention from young Black women in school, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to wait and try and get with her later when she's older and maybe she's not your first choice anymore. Those guys don't really have a choice. Well, we understand that part of it. The part that's more interesting to me is, how is this the fault of the Black men, the 99% of Black men who were praising Angel Reese? It seems to me that the real issue is they want Black men to make the other men praise Angel Reese. And quite simply put, it's not our job. We don't have the power to do that. And even if we did have the power to do that in this current situation, what's the reward for taking the risk?
This is a Black man with a caption that says, Black men and Black women, can we start over? I'm tired of us finding reasons not to love each other. Truce. Do over. Will we ever start over? Well, that's a good question. But it's one thing for certain. We're not going to fare any better with anybody else than we will with each other. We can try all we want to because there's nobody really lining up to save Black people, male or female. So if we're not going to be for each other, then we're just going to be up the creek. That's all that is. Because there is nowhere else to go. There's nowhere to hide. There's nobody else that's going to protect us. If we don't look out for each other, we're just going to be up the creek. That's all. But anyway, I don't believe Black men hate Black women. I keep hearing that. Black men just hate Black women. So you hate all the Black women in the United States of America? That is a mental problem. So I don't believe Black men hate Black women. What I believe is that some people have gotten left behind. George Bush said, no child left behind, but some of them got left behind. And I think that they're blaming other people for being left behind. But it's not Black women's fault if you were left behind. So you need to get off these podcasts and figure out what you need to do with your life to make your life a success.
I think it's fair that I show my due level of respect for Lady Boulay, but she's being very general in what she's speaking about. I'm not sure why she's choosing to do that, because she very easily could have found the 2 or 3 guys that were saying these things and highlight those guys and say, we don't like what you're saying about Angel Reese. There's a growing realization that we, quote unquote, Germaines, are being faced with an impossible task. It's not enough that we go to grade school, college, etc. with many Black young ladies that we think are very beautiful and we would like to date/start families with them, especially when we're young and have permanent, stable families. But in this current environment, often the case is many young ladies want to enjoy their 20s and even into their 30s for themselves. And then when it's time to do the family formation, it's very difficult because maybe you're her 10th or 15th choice. And still in that environment, Black men are tasked with this impossible task of telling the world that these are the most beautiful women and you should see these women the way that we do. That is just not a task that we're up for. We cannot do that. And if that makes us less of a man, then we have to go to someone that sees us and says, you know what, you're enough man for me. To say that other women of other races don't really want us, well, if you are a Black man who was never really wanted in the first place, there's not really a big difference, except maybe she wants you when she's in her mid to late 20s. And the young lady that you want doesn't really consider you until she's in her 30s. But that being the case, the real issue is we can't tell the world that the new beauty standard is now Angel Reese. The guys that like Angel Reese like Angel Reese. The guys that don't like Angel Reese like the representation of themselves that they like. And if you need us, 99% of us, to tell the 1% of Black men and all the other men that Angel Reese is the new beauty standard, when she's walking across the stage in a T-back and she's not even smiling, I'm sorry. I don't think that we can do it. So go on blaming Germaine, I guess. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care.